In this video, we are going to see about template-driven forms in Angular. Template-driven forms. So, what is template-driven forms? So, everything will be happen inside the template, and only little code will be happen recorded in the component class. So, this is different from the reactive forms. So, there we have to define the logic and controls in the component class. Here we define all these logic and controllers in the inside the template driven forms in the templates only. So it will be mostly driven by the templates. So template driven forms are the forms is set up using ng form directive. So ng form is mainly for declaring that we are using the template driven forms, and controllers for all the text boxes and other things we have to use the ng model directive, and two-way data binding from the template to the component to the template, everything will be done by the two-way data binding. Okay, so ng model directive only used as the directive for manipulations of the templates, and validations are configured in the templates with the help of directives. Okay, that's how it works. The advantages and disadvantages are template driven forms only have a little code in the component class, and it will be easier to set up, and we have the most work in the template side. So we need to concentrate on the template and the forms and the ng model initiation and ng model directives for handling the validations and all. So it will be easier to handle and easier to set up. While difficulties is we cannot add more controls dynamically. So that is the minus there. So in simple term, we can use template driven forms for simple forms. That is, there will be no much complications in the data handling, form handling. Okay, this for handling logical data handling, logical coding, and all, we have to use the reactive forms. Okay, so first we are creating an example application. So we are using the ng new keyword, and it will install everything. So once the installation is done, it will take at least some 10 to 15 minutes for the whole installation. For the node modules installation only, it will take so much of time. So once the full installation done, give ng-serve and test how the application works. And if it is working fine, then we can write our own code. So this is a basic test while writing all the applications. Okay. After that, we need to import the forms module inside the app module .ts, and that will be served as served, and it will import the forms module in all the applications. So for all the components we are using this templates, so we have to use import the forms module inside that component class also. So it will be helpful for getting ready the page for a forms module, forms based conjugations. Okay, as I told you earlier, so we have the most of the work in the HTML form. The first task we are going to give here is to build the template. So for building a template for forms module, template driven forms, we have to use a form first. So inside this form only we are declaring values. So I'm using two text inputs here. So one is first name and another one is second last name. So the third one is email, and then a radio button. So and then that is mainly for gender, and we have a checkbox for married conditions, and we have a select list. So this list contains countries. Okay, some 3 to 4 countries are given. So based on the selection, that will be given as the output. Okay, so just to see the left side. Okay, first name. So we have an input type called first name, and then we have a last name, and then email ID, and the others in the next page. So here we have gender. So we have two input type radio types here. One is for male and another is for female. And then we have is married condition. So for this we have a checkbox. So based on the checkbox decision, if the checkbox is true, then it is yes, and if the checkbox is not checked, it will be a false condition. Then we have a country label, and inside that we have a select element. So the select element will contain a list of options. Each options contain a value. Based on the selection of the value, it will be the value of the selection. So it will be an option. Okay. After the selection, I have given an option selected, and value is equal to empty. So what it does now, it will create a first empty. So what all the values we are fetching will be fetched to the after this empty only. So why this needed now? First, once we selected the selected element, the first option will always be disabled. We cannot choose it. We need to choose a value below that. So if you are using a list of country list, there means the first option will always not be able to choose it. Okay, for that we are using this empty selection, empty option, and the second line we have an option pack with a ng value. So ng value we are using c.id. So star ng for we are using the directives I told you in the earlier, right? So star ng for let's see of country list. So based on the country list selected, the country code, that is the country ID CID, will be given as the ng value as the options value. Okay. So that value will be pinged to the option c dot name like that. Okay. Based on the selection. Okay. So option is closed and we have a submit button. We have a component class. So inside this component class, we don't have many complicated codes or logics written. So we have a simple title, which means template driven forms, and then we have country list. So in the inside this country list, I have a new country for 1 India, 2 USA, and 3 England. So these things are listed in the country list. Okay. After that, I have the export class of the country component. So I have two things here: ID string and name string. So both are taken as string, and I have a constructor for initializing this because I need this for the country options. Okay, so for the country options, this should be declared. So what is id and what is the name means the id is 1 and India name is India, id 2 is USA, id 3 is for England. So that will be automatically implemented with the constructor, so that it will be set by the select element ECD. The ng form does the following. So one, it binds the form directive, and then it will create a top level form group instance, and then it creates a form control instance for each of the child. So here the childs are first name, last name, email, country list. Okay, it will be binded as a ng model, binded through a ng model directive. So after that, it will create an instance for ng model group directive. Okay, the form control is getting all the instance of all the values, first name, last name, email, gender, and everything, and it will add the ng model directive to each of the control. So this ng model will be used to create this instance for each form field attached. So I have a form, I am filling a form, so that will be attached to this form control instance. Okay, so another person is filling the form, so that form control instance is attached to that. So once I submitted, the form will be getting all these details in a single tag. So this is ng form is contact form here. So this contact form contains the form control instance, which will contain all the elements listed, and then that will be pushed to the uh, further processing. Okay. So the final template will look like this. See in the form, a contact form is added. So this is the name of the ng form, and on the submit we have a contact form that we are submitting. So the contact form is nothing but this form. Okay, so we have first name, this first name input type is added ng model. So all this value will be binded as a two-way binding. So from the component to the template to the component will be done here. Okay, so after that, all the values you see, everywhere you see the ng model. Inside the select tag, we have the ng model inside the select name. Okay. After that, we are submitting means this contact form is carry out for processing, and the output will be processed with these contact form details. I will give an output for that. I just go through that. So how I receive the form data and how it is given. Once I fill the form, what happens in the console? So after that, how this value is fetched? Everything is shown as a GIF file in the next video. Just go through that. Thanks, team. Thanks for the support. Crack software interviews.